Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. I think somebody's got their mic off. If you guys could just cut the background noise out just a little bit. But yeah, guys, we are back. Happy Monday. I've got my cat distracting me as well right behind me, but ready to talk charts and markets with you guys. It should be exciting. We've got a huge week. It's a big week for crypto. It's a big week for macro. We're going to talk about all of it this week. So I hope you guys, I hope you got your stimmy. I hope you got your computers. Hope you got your AirPods if you're just listening in. But regardless, thank you so much for being here. And just a reminder, I am Snorlax, also known as Tommy, for those who have been here before. Also joined, of course, by Tucker, Jackus, and Dr. Will's Outlook. We should be getting Max on later today as well. Excited to talk markets with you guys. Welcome back from vacation, Jackus. I know the crowd is happy to see you back, happy to see you cook. And I know everybody was definitely, thinking over the weekend. And I always love Monday shows and Monday Giga Chat calls because everybody is just kind of like simmering on whatever information it is that, they might have identified over the weekend, and they are ready to cook on Monday. So we are going to do that for you guys. But before we can do that, going to need you to smash that like button. As I've been saying, our channel has been growing at a pretty rapid pace, but that's in no small part due to you guys, the audience. We appreciate you guys tuning in here every single day and smashing that like button. Helps us get our content out. And of course, when you smash that like button, we don't have to show you soybeans or any other, extremely irrelevant. I don't want to use the word irrelevant, but super obscure commodity charts. Some people like them, though. Some people like them. But yeah, let's talk markets. It's a big week for Bitcoin. It's a huge week for the macro. Bitcoin is coming into the range lows. It's a big pivot. Altcoins, they're kind of contingent on what Bitcoin does, right? You lose the range lows, altcoins will puke harder. Bitcoin bounces back to range highs. Altcoins will probably lead the way just within this ranging environment, right? And for Bitcoin to continue to break and trend higher, maybe that relationship between Bitcoin dominance and ETH kind of starts to break a little bit. We saw ETH Bitcoin make a big move over the weekend. It has pretty much retraced the entire pump. I want to say the entire pump on ETH Bitcoin. I know ETH USD basically has, there is a demand for ETH. It's just a matter of, when are one of these pumps going to be sustainable on that front? I'm sure we're going to have some debate for you guys on that as well. And of course, we got a huge week for macro. We've got, the BOJ. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I'd love to get Jackus to explain it later on in this show. Obviously, a big relationship between the yen and the US dollar, especially as it pertains to global net liquidity. And obviously that yen carry trade that everybody loves to talk about. Also have the QRA meeting with Janet. So we might be seeing Janet Outlook appear at some point this week. And of course, how could I forget our favorite Jerome Powell is coming later this week for FOMC as well. But we've got an absolutely packed week for you guys, which means we're going to be bringing you guys all the content and alpha that we can possibly muster up. Welcome, guys. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. What are we seeing in the markets, guys? Are really, like, there's so much going on in the markets. What do we want to talk about first?
Let me know when you're done, Tucker.
I think we're all right. I think we're okay here. I don't think it looks great. I will say, there's your kind of line in the sand, in my opinion, right? Like you do need this to turn into like a higher low rather than it be like, one of those. It wouldn't be the end of the world, right? And some other people have identified this as well, but this range, ingrain this in your memory, this range, right, looks a lot like this range on a lower time frame or on a higher time frame, right? So for your viewing benefit, I've gone ahead and pasted it over there. Looks good, right? Looks good. This is gonna be my base case until we lose this low. Okay. It's cool if we sweep. It's cool if we kind of bleed into support and we get the bounce out and then we go. But I'd say if we lose these levels, then you're looking at like a breakdown from what looks to be a pretty distributive range. You know, right? Like that looks like pretty clear distribution with a lower high put in. So we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. There's no definitive answer. There's no right answer as of this moment. We're getting a little pumpsky this morning, but I'm sure I'm gonna get attacked by probably both Will and Jackus, but it's okay because I can take it. I can take it. And yeah, so just wanted to kick off the argument there. Go ahead.
All right, now that we're done with the propaganda, and everybody got their fill on their bearish propaganda. I would say, can you go to the 25 to 30K range? Can you pull that up and put it on the monthly?
Put it on the monthly. Yes. I should have been on the monthly already. How silly of me.
You should have known that was where he was going.
I mean,
Yeah.
how long did we sit there between 25 and 30K?
I mean,
6
a
months.
long time. Yeah.
How often did we break that low of 25K?
We didn't. I mean, you tapped it twice, but you didn't break it.
Interesting. So can you go to the? It looks like we're just one candle in. Okay. So we sat at the range lows between 25 and 30K for 7 months, 6 months before breakout, and people are crying because we've been in this range for 30 days. Let me ask you another question. Is that an engulfing candle that we see right there? Is that what that is on that red candle?
No.
Oh, it's not an engulfing candle. Okay, I wanted to make sure because bears have about 1 day and 20 hours to make this an engulfing candle.
I mean, just to be devil's advocate, these were not engulfing candles either.
So. Which ones?
These two.
Look at the wick on the high end. You had plenty of indication that was going to roll.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't an engulfing candle.
Yeah, so you get one of two candles, right? You get an engulfing, or you get a complete rejection of the range, which is a really high wick. That's a rejection of the range. Neither one. So just add context to your context, right? The two don't coincide together. Weekly range time frame looks very much the same. Now, can you identify the distributive top on 25 to 30K? Just the circular round top that you have playing out there at the 30K range. So for Bitcoin, the 25 to 30K range, can you identify the distributive top?
You talking about
the round top?
This?
Draw the half circle.
Draw the half circle.
So that's your distributive top. How far did that distribute?
I mean, it wasn't a distributive top, though, right?
I mean, it's a round top. I'm just saying, it's a round top.
Just reaccumulation, though. I'm not talking about on the monthly, right? I'm not talking about on the monthly. I'm talking about like on a lower time frame. Like it looks like distribution a little bit, right? Until
are people day trading? I mean, like I don't feel like people coming to the show are day trading. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not telling anybody to go sell spot. That is not the message here. That is definitely not the message. I mean, dude, I'm fully deployed. All right. Like I'm just playing devil's advocate that it could look ugly if we lose the range lows. That's all.
Yeah. I guess for me, and I'll let Jackus, because I know he's been out for a while. If you were looking to short or be bearish, your time was at 75K. Right? You tested it twice. Your time to short was 75K. Like if you're sitting here looking at this, like this is an opportunity to short and or get out to get in lower at 60K. Like, what are you really doing in this market? What are you really doing in this market? Because ideally, I think you're going to get wrecked. And if you look at, a lot of these areas, especially like if you just drew a line, for instance, there, Tucker, across the high of 2017, we're just in that breakout zone. That's where we are. Like we're in that area of confluence where the market is in the middle, right? And it's the same thing in all these cycles where it's in the middle and it's going to sit here and hover and then it's going to break out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking because this guy was saying the 2-month chart is some decent alpha. So, I mean, the 2-month candle looks kind of ugly. I'll admit it does look a little bit ugly, but like here we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
1,
almost like going
2,
in and
3,
changing
4,
your
5,
time
6.
frames on your MAs and your EMAs so they fit your bias, right? Like, and I'm not saying it to attack the 2-month chart person. I'm simply stating the facts, right? Like it's stick to your normal time
Okay, well,
frames.
we know you want to.
Stick
Yeah.
to your normal time frames. Your normal time frames are what? Your monthly, your weekly, your daily, your H4, your H8, and that's simply it. You can go into H1, but then once you get into that low time frame, you're basically a scalper.
I mean, I think you can play around with time frame. Clearly, you've never been on the 24-minute time frame, Will.
I mean, hey,
Clearly.
the
And it
22-minute,
shows.
33-second time frame is the place to be
And it
if you're
shows.
bullish.
If
No.
you're bullish.
I think overcomplicating and trying to add in confluence text to where like, okay, I found this one place where this looks bearish. This will work. Um, I'm about to get on and throw up some charts, but give me like 5. But Jackus, if you want to jump in there real quick and give your thought process on this, because I'm about to destroy the FVG notion discussion here in a little bit.
No, yeah, we don't
I
need
got
to go fill the FEGs at all. I think somewhere right in here would be perfect. But yeah, go ahead and cook, Jackus.
no. I just want to say hello to everyone. That I'm happy to be back. But I wanna first let Will finish his cooking because he's on a rampage, and you do not stop Will. He's killing it. So I'm happy to wait for you, Will.
Okay, Tucker, give some confluence here. Give me like 2 minutes, and I'm gonna throw up a chart.
All right. Yeah, look. It's not the end of the world, guys. It's not the end of the world. I'm just saying, right? You could come down, you could tap these MAs, you could tap this VWAP. It wouldn't be the end of the world, right? You could do that. It'd be okay. We'd be fine. You just I would say, especially if you lose like the yearly VWAP, then it's like, all right, let's pack it up, lads. Let's pack it up. But I think for now we're good. We're good, guys. We're okay. Just this region needs to hold, in my opinion, right? So that's all. That's all.
It's a big level on open interest too.
By the way, guys, before Will is ready to absolutely slaughter everyone and everything with his chart, happy to be back. Love to see your comments that I quickly scroll through. Had a great vacation. Choose a great time to do so. It seems as market has not done much in the past week. Hope you guys had a great time as well with the boys here. I'm sure that they entertained you very much, especially with the soybean chart as usual.
We found some new commodities, Jackus. Tucker,
Really?
what was the one that you found on Friday that was so? You're on mute.
Jack, if you are in for a treat, brother, you are in for a treat.
Yes.
Oh,
Cotton candy.
Cotton candy.
The sugar.
oh wait, what was it? Was it this one? Oat futures? No,
How is
non-fat
Will?
dry milk. Yeah,
That's what it was.
yeah, man, that's a
How
good
did
one.
you? How did you guys find this one?
I just scrolled through. Commodities. Where is it? Yeah, futures, and then agriculture is the
Oh my god.
category you want. Yeah, there's all these, man. There's so many. Yeah, it's great. Enough of that. Enough of that.
I mean, I think they're starting to get almost like this conditioning, though, Jack, as to where they kind of like what's that condition where you start to bond with your captor or whatever. That's like when you guys watch market check, you put on commodity futures and you start to like it.
Yeah, you said it well, Tommy. They are conditioned and they are waiting for the side feature. They're like, I'm not liking until they tell me, and until they put in the side V chart and tell me to do it. Yeah, but it's nice, that's the community here around, and I love it. But I think Will is ready to start. By the way, Will, you're muted. Will is muted. Will is muted.
Will, unmute yourself, bruv.
There we go.
Oh
no, we don't hear you. We don't hear you. Well, technical difficulties. He's like, oh.
we need a better background than that too from you. Will.
I like the brick, man.
You like the brick background?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Smasher, hey Jake, it's time to short the vacation time. No, man, man. It's pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Will, are you just? Yeah,
hopefully it stays for it.
He's cut.
Will on the roasts. He is the famous audience attacker.
Bro, looks like he's on Sesame Street. No. Oh man.
Well, we need to get that audio working. you got to attack the audience. Oh. I think he's gonna be.
We're just gonna do it this way. This is easy.
All right.
We don't need the mic. We're gonna use the phone. All right. So sorry, I just got to prepare myself because I'm trying not to attack people. All right. We're gonna get into the charts. FEG, 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 FEG. I mean, do I need to keep putting them out? I mean, what's the thing here? I think not enough people really kind of look at this market and quite understand it, and they're consistently trying to make reasoning for something that doesn't have to happen, right? When we were sitting at the 50K range, 40 to 50K range, what did everybody say? Where did everybody say price was going to go? Any of you? Where did everybody say price was going to go? I'm pointing to it. They said roughly the 30K range, right? They're like, oh, we're going to fill this FEG down here at 30K, guys. Everybody be ready. Go into stables. Set in your dollar. It filled out really well. Because guess what? The market went the opposite direction. Everybody's completely wrong on this. Again, over here, we're going to 10K, guys. Everybody be ready. Everybody ready for 10K. 10K, and then everybody can get in at the same time. We all ride to Valhalla together. What happened to 10K? Guess what? We didn't all ride to Valhalla together because most of you are too greedy. It's simply, it's really that simple. It sounds more difficult than what it is, but this is reality. And then you even had people calling for some kind of stair step pattern into like 6K, right? You had people calling for a stair step in the 6K. I'm like, you've lost it. You've lost it. Look, I'm not saying clean charts don't work, but I'm saying you need to add context to what you're looking at. You can't just say, I've identified an FVG, this is where price is going. You need more to it than just that. It's not that simple. And then same thing up here, everybody's looking for 50K, right? Everybody's shooting for FVG fill, guys, but they're not looking at support. They're just simply not looking at support. They're not like, hey, we haven't violated support yet, so let's go ahead and short the market into support. What's your RR here if you're shorting?
By the way, Do you guys know what's the miner profitability right now? Because I think we cannot dip too much below that. And I think it's like right now, is it like 40, 50 Ks?
So
And the price of Bitcoin is a direct result of supply, demand, and miners' profitability.
Correct. And this is that's definitely another great point too. That's kind of stating that, hey, you may have hit a bottom, right? Whether people want to believe it or not. Now, another thing that we're kind of seeing, we'll dial down the time frames. Is what here? What's going on here? Trickling. So a lot of people think, again, I get it. It's the mindset of PTSD bear market, but you got to break that. You have to break that mentality. Look, I understand you were all set in the prison cell you shouldn't have been in, and that things happened to you in that prison cell, but you're in your own prison cell. You shouldn't be having that PTSD anymore. All right? You're on your own. You don't have to worry about that stuff happening to you anymore. The bear market's not here to take
Don't pick
advantage of
up the
you.
Snickers.
Don't pick up the Snickers. Like, everybody's looking at this like, oh, low vol dump. No, it's low vol into support breakout. Think the opposite. Like, your mindset needs to change. If you cannot adapt, you won't make money. You need to adapt to the regime change. The regime change is printing money, propping up banks, making this economy look as best as possible going into an election. It is what it is, whether people want to believe that or not. And so we came up, we came down, we're consolidating, and now we're just like slowly bleeding and not below the range, above support. You're bleeding above support. If price drops, my expectation would be something like this, and then maybe some kind of weird like price drop. Maybe we get a deviation. Look, I'll give it to bears. Maybe you get a deviation, right? Maybe you get that, but it's not going to be much. And then if you get that, I think all you're going to do is trend up anyways. Like, this is just, it is what it is. And I think like not enough people are considered. Here's the same pattern that everybody was looking for the same thing. Look, breakout. This was your vertical accumulation. Everybody was looking for this to be violated. And then you had this breakout and you had this retest of vertical cum and then new breakout range. That was it. Because if I dial down the range, hey, I would be looking for this too. But this does not exist on higher time frames. Keep in mind, you have a bit of a hesitation here on the weekly, and on the monthly, it's non-existent, what everybody's looking for. You're dialing down too far, looking for this one area of confluence. Now, granted, if it does happen, it happens. But bears have to prove themselves. How can the bear? I'll give you an example of how bears can prove themselves. They can prove themselves simply by violating this high, right? And we've talked about it many times. We draw it down. It needs to be the first high, not the second. It needs to be the first high, because this was the top of the market right here, not this. Even though people are like, oh, well, price went up here. Yes, price went up here, but your vol and your strength did not match. They were less on both. So because they were less on both, it told you this was the top, this was a deviation. Deviations are not tops, they're just deviations. That's all they are. You got to separate the two. So again, dial, and you can see it's already pumping back off this low. Bears have roughly 1 day and 9 hours to violate this low. If they don't, my only expectation here is for price to remain like this until breakout, right? Either or I'll give the bear scenario until breakdown deviation, then breakout. Everybody wants it here. The longer you want it, the longer it's not going to happen. Basically, the longer you expect it, the more likely it's not going to happen. Expectations are never what this market gives. It does not give expectations. It will drag you out. It'll take you in the backyard and it will beat you senseless until you lose all your money in the range, getting chopped up. Like the obvious play here, and this is the same thing here, and this we talked about this, Tucker, when we were here. And I was like, look at these price ranges, right? It's around top. It was what appeared to be, I say appeared because it wasn't a distributive zone, right? It appeared to be a distributive zone. Ended up being an accumulation range for a breakout, HTF. Because if you were looking for distribution tends to happen on around top, right? So they completely screwed everybody here into thinking that this was going to distribute lower when in reality they were going to take it the opposite direction. And that's why I always point out this range right here specifically. So let me pull up one thing. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you just bragging, blah, blah, blah. No, a lot of you like to be like, oh, you talking hindsight, Will. You always talking hindsight. That's all I hear. So let me ask you guys this. We'll pull this up for context. Actually, let me share screen. Sorry. Present, share screen. I don't know why that thing keeps popping up. Entire screen. And we'll go here. All right. Can you pull that up, Tucker?
Hmm?
Can people, was this screen right here? Was this hindsight? Was that me looking at the past or was that me looking at the future? Because when I drew this up and I said, we're probably going to inverse head and shoulders here based off of what I was seeing, the double top motion here, right? On the weekly time frame. And I said, bullish thesis, recreate an inverse HNS here. Looks something like this. Retest 19K, it's that easy. And if we go here to time frame, right, and we check that quote that I made there, right? We check that quote, we throw it again on the lower time frames, and we play this out. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Played out to a T. So it's a matter of being able to see these things. It's not a hindsight scenario I'm speaking on. It's being able to see, okay, what is the market maker trying to do? Where are we trying to go? And I have posts for this too. Before it ever happened, I have posts for this before it ever happened. And this is what I keep on telling people. It's like you could have literally, like, my bid positions were on point, all of them, and it's not, again, not a brag. It's simply just, experience. That's all it is. It's like working out, right? You get muscle memory, you work out. When you go to the gym, your form is going to be better than somebody who just started. It's just how it is. And it's because it's something that as you work it out, just like a brain, which is a muscle, you end up kind of intaking that better, and you're able to kind of identify what's actually going on versus what everybody's expecting. And there are times that the crowd is right. It is. I just think it's less likely in a lot of scenarios that the crowd is right. And I think, like, looking at these on HTF and daily, again, you need an engulfing on the monthly first off, which you're not getting. It doesn't look like, at least, right? They could come down and do it, ideally, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then, since you're not going to get an engulfing, why would you expect a lower price? Why would you expect to break the range? That would be my thought process here. And that's again, we're already at 63K. Um, Here, I'll give one more context because I know we got Jackus. I know we gotta cook some stuff up. So I kind of hid this from you. So we kind of blew up the FVG discussion. Right, we blew that out the water. Like your average like Jackus has a different thesis. Jackus is different than a lot of these guys I see on Twitter. A lot of these guys I see on Twitter, they only do FEGs and they say, "Oh, look for this FEG. That's going to happen." Never happens. And then what do when it doesn't happen? Well, they go back and they adjust their chart as if they actually hit their FEG later on, and then say, "Look, I was right here and I was right here." But they don't have any proof of that. I just showed you proof of mine. So let's get into volume, right? Let's discuss volume, because I think this is an important piece that is kind of, overall missing here when it comes to these markets. What do we notice about these green arrows here? These green arrows identified right there, right here, this green arrow and this red one, this green arrow right here at this top, right? This green, now some of you may argue with this. RSI doesn't argue with it at all. This is the top. This is the definitive top. whether people want it to be or not, don't want it to be. The definitive top on your weekly time frames roughly was within this range right in here, right? That was your definitive top. Definitive bottom, so on and so forth. We can look at spikes, we can discuss them. That's what it was. So if we look on here on these monthlies, top, again, you might be like, well, bottom was here. That's why we got the pandemic. It pushed price right back up into the range, right? This was your signal that you were bottomed. This was your signal that you were bottomed. Again, top, right? Come over here. What do we get? Oh, look at that. If you would have bought that as the bottom, would you have been close enough to a bottom? Anybody here, would you have been close enough to the bottom? If you'd have bought just looking at this line straight across on vol? I would think so, right? I would think so. Moving into volume over here. Look where we are right now. And people are calling the top. They're calling the top. We haven't even touched the line up here. This is 2 cycles worth of data. 2 cycles. Like I can't make any. I could probably go back another one if I pull up the BLS. I can't make this any simpler. Volume is telling you you're wrong. It's telling you you're wrong. Market's not topped. Volume peak has not happened. And you could say, well, stimulus here, but where was your stimulus here? There wasn't one. There's no stimulus here. So there's no stimulus here. This market happened without a stimulus and worked just fine. This market happened with a stimulus, ended up in the same range. This market doesn't have a stimulus. It's going to end up in the same range. RSI peaks the same way. We come up here, we pull up RSI, we get into RSI.
This market doesn't have stimulus yet. I mean, it does.
Yeah.
It's got like the backdoor QE, but it doesn't have
Backdoor
like
QE.
the explicit stimulus that 2020 and 2021 had. I mean, you'd have to think within liquidity cycles, though. That is probably inevitable from a time standpoint.
If you look here too, that's what I'm seeing. That's exactly what I'm seeing. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm seeing this right here happening lower right here. And you better hope to God that this ain't the case, because you are all absolutely wrong if this is the case, because you're about to get blown the hell out on upside if you're sending cash. So,
but I was just discussing that on the Discord call, this one, and it's been our thesis for quite a while. Well, and I also have to agree that it's absolutely not justifiable to think that the top is in for this cycle. We can entertain the the idea how deep the pullback is going to go, or like the range, when it's going to end and so forth. But yeah, there are, like, I use so many metrics, and basically 0 of them is telling me that the cycle top is in.
yeah, I don't think so either, Jack. I think that people need to look at this like this, just like they needed to look at this like this.
Yeah, I mean
eventually it tops.
I also see lots of people, even in the comment here, selling sell in May and go away, and it's been kind of a meme, and it kind of became like a
A
scare
normie meme.
us. Yeah, normie meme lately. I think in May we see a lower. We have monthly close tomorrow, and then we have FOMC straight on Wednesday, and then we have unemployment claims, and then gives lots of room for manipulation. And I think we can clearly, as you have that box down there pointed out, I think we see a push into that upper box, but I do not think we see it getting completely filled. What people also forget lots of times with FVGs is that there are 3 levels within them. It's not just a complete fill, and lots of FVG newbies think that, and by the way, FVGs, guys, are fair value gaps. For those that do not know, it's there are other names for it, like gaps, inefficiencies, imbalances, whatever. It's simply an area in a price where the price was moving quickly in one direction and did not fully retest its prior basis. And what's very common within FVGs is that the price comes back and touches either the upper or middle part of it and doesn't have to fill it. And lots of that depends on lots of context. So I think, the sell in May and go away is a meme. Lots of people that will sell in May will cry away later on, because I think the market is getting close to being very undervalued at these prices. The minor profitability, as one of the guys pointed out in the chat, sits around 52K, which is pretty interesting as well. So I think, in May, with lots of that economic activity, we are going to get at the later stage of this week. We could see the sweep of the prior 2 monthly lows, but it's probably going to be just a sweep, just a liquidity grab. Maybe we spend the May ranging as well. Not saying that May is going to be straight up, but I think we are going to print a bullish monthly candle in May, and we will see a very quick early May wick.
Yeah, I agree with that line of thinking. They've pretty much been front running and somebody pointed it out in the comments, so I highlighted it, but they pretty much have been front running the sell in May rhetoric over the last few weeks. I wish I had more to expand on that, but yeah, they have been front running.
That's it.
Yeah, I think
Max appeared.
I think we're in September of 2020, man. After some thorough reanalysis. Oh wow. We got Will.
Max kicked out my account that I'm talking from.
Oh, sorry. I saw the extra account up there, and I was like, he's already up there on camera. He doesn't need 2 accounts. That was my fault.
He always is on 2 accounts, man. Always.
Yeah, I'm having technical difficulties with the mic. I don't know I don't know what's going on.
Just overcomplicating it, Will. Come on, man.
I'm doing what everybody else is doing with the charts. They're overcomplicating it.
Dude, people really are overcomplicating things right now. Like,
look at all these FVGs, Max. I pointed out.
Did you know there's equal lows at 3K that need to get hit? Did you see those equal lows?
Bro,
and equal lows at 150.
Jackus, it's weird to hear your voice again, man. You've been gone for so long. I forgot what the chef sounded like.
You miss me that much, Will?
I did. There was one market check where we all just sat here and cried together because we missed you. We didn't even talk charts. We just wailed. We were just crying. So where's our chef? We're hungry.
And then you guys put in the dry powder milk or whatever that is.
The dry milk features, yeah.
Dude, people are so emotional and bearish right now, man. I'm so bullish here. Like, I'm so stupid bullish. It's crazy.
Well,
we should probably look at soybeans right now.
Oh dear.
The issue right now, Max, is we're at range lows, right? And we haven't even engulfed the previous candle, and people are talking about 50K. It's like you got to engulf the candle first. Like, what are we even talking about here?
No,
just to add to Max, I'm happy to be back as well. Been good vibes so far. And yeah, I was saying, in the Discord call earlier that I completely logged off from not just the charts, to be honest, but the internet. The news, economics, politics, whatever. And I've just been on the sun enjoying life. It's been absolutely amazing. But the thing that really struck me is when I came back and opened everything, and it was like boom. And you do not feel it when you are in it. You kind of get like accustomed to it, or like it kind of becomes the way life is. But when you disconnect and you focus on the good stuff, and then you come back, and it's been just 1 week. You feel it. I opened Twitter and people were fighting each other, and depression everywhere, and and everything is going to hell. And
the vibes on CT have been very bad the last 2 weeks. They've been terrible.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I may have come after a few people on Twitter, but like, it's tough
The
love at
audience
the end of the day,
attacker.
man.
The audience attacker. Well, we
Like,
would be sad if you haven't. Well,
Yeah, I mean, bro, it's. I said this morning. I don't know if you caught the beginning of the Discord call. I was like, Jackus is the only smart one. He left at the best time. Like, CT has been a garbage disposal the past week. Like, you'd literally think that we were back at like 15K Bitcoin. People are like, they're not even focused on making money right now. They're just focused on attacking each other and arguing. It's just absolute clownery, man. Like, people are just so emotional. They need to slide the leverage down a bit and just chill out.
Just the frustration, because I was saying, that the people that are posting on Twitter, they're usually no different from most of regular normies, and they feel the frustration from the market too. It's not that much. Lots of their alts are down significantly, and the hard part there is the time. It's not, whenever you get if you were to get a quick flush down on BTC, even to freaking 0 today, and it would just bounce back the next day, the sentiment wouldn't change. Even there was such a big drop, but to get the sentiment change, to build the frustration, you need time. And that's what's happening right now. And it's like a smaller version to me of August, September. And I think that October 2023 is coming once again, if you see that analogy that I made. Because oh, go for it.
No, you can go. You can finish. It's been a while.
I was kind of finished. I just didn't, because there's the lag between my voice when you guys hear when I start.
At the end of the day, like, for me, I don't even care about the like buttons today. We're just gonna have to suffer. It is what it is. Look, the point being is we got Jackus back, so that's big. People need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Stop not eating your protein. I'll just tell you that. Stop not eating your protein. You need to eat enough protein each day so you can stay healthy. Your mental state is lacking, and you need to go outside and get some sunlight. Some vitamin D is very healthy for you. Looking at markets, it's like, what is there to really be upset about? What is there you've had a slight pullback. What is there to really be upset about?
And Will, something to note, we've talked about this all last week. We've had, up until April, we've had 7 consecutive green monthly candles for Bitcoin. Okay. This pause here in April, this churn fest, this chop fest that has everybody going crazy, is precisely what we need, and it actually bodes very well on the higher time frame. And is healthy for an extended rally. For us to just cool off a little bit and reestablish value up here is a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. So I think that a lot of people are just overly concerned, in my opinion, about nothing. And also, it seems once again like I'm having deja vu towards, that area. Will, maybe you could zoom in a little bit, a lot of bit, go to like the weekly time frame and just go over when the Bitcoin ETF got approved. All right. That area, when the Bitcoin ETF got approved, I remember it like it was yesterday. It really wasn't that long ago. Do you know how many people there, when we initially rejected, wanted like 34K retest? Like, that was like the consensus. That was the crowded level that everybody was like, oh, this is for sure going to fill. Like, everybody drawing their little charts online, like, oh, look at this gap, we got to fill that 34K or whatever. I'm having that same type of deja vu flashback towards where we're at right now. Everybody's like, oh, yeah. No, we're going to go to like 52, 53. And they're drawing their stupid little lines, like, oh, this is what's going to happen, and I'm just like, I guess it could, right? I don't think it's going to, unless we get and it's a big week. Barry Silbert has said it best, check week, big week. Okay. We have FOMC Wednesday. We have initial jobless claims in the U.S. on Thursday. And we have unemployment on Friday. Okay. So unless we get a surprise report and the U.S. labor market is materially worsening at a much quicker pace than anticipated, you're not going to see a crazy flash dip in equities or in crypto. Okay, there's no reason for it right now. There's no reason for it in the short term. I think if you happen to get 57, 56, I think you turn your brain off. I think you shove. But I don't think you're going to get those obvious levels, because that's not what happens when you're in a strong uptrend and you're in a bull market. You don't get those super obvious levels to get hit. You just don't. I don't think there's a reason for it. I don't think we need to. Everybody wants mid to low 50s. I think if you get upper 50s, don't be greedy. Upper 50s, 57K is your 22% pullback on Bitcoin, which is the biggest pullback we've had in the past 18 months. So I'm just saying, I think things look good, man. Like I'm just excited for us to rally out of here whenever that comes. It's probably in the second half of May, because I want people to go back to focusing on making money and like sharing ideas rather than just trying to like fight each other for no reason on Twitter. Not that I get into it, it's just like, oh man, it's so much noise. Like just send the market higher already.
Hashtag mad online.
Yeah.
I want to point out this one thing. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
People on social media are more sensitive than girls before their periods, man. It's what it is. Not to insult anybody. they really are. They really are too sensitive on social media, and it's for the algorithm engagement, of course.
Yeah. It's such a broken incentive structure that people can get paid to just like engagement farm and start beef. It's so broken. I mean, like I get it, but it's just clownery, man. Like people fighting each other just for like $100 stimmy check from Elon, Yeah. It's bad.
I like what you could hear, Will, was because most people think of greed above the price, not below it. And I like what Will has done here, because the greed, the fear and greed works on both sides. And this is a greed for people to buy back cheap. And it's a great one too. And we've seen that one, for example, well, the ones shown, but the big greed has been during the bear, right? When we were getting messages like exit all markets and all of that. And
I feel like that's one of those statements where if you're making it, like you better be right, man.
Yeah. Unless you are Jim Cramer.
I point this out though because like this is all I've seen the whole cycle, and this is why like I may sound like I'm bashing people, but I'm trying to beat it into their head because it seems like their skull is very freaking thick. I consistently see the same people that have been saying the same shit since 25K Bitcoin, right?
Dude, I put out a tweet about this, Will. You know what the most annoying thing is too? I don't know if I just tweeted this out, man. People drawing Wykoff distributions here are like it's insane, man. I just tweeted this out. Literally the worst thing to ever happen to crypto was it was not FTX, it was the Wykoff distribution becoming mainstream in 2021, because now everybody's just looking at ranges and going, this is a Wykoff distribution. This is Wykoff distribution. Like it's possible that we're just in a range, and we're not actually in some sort of complex distribution schematic, just people trying to fit these like crazy. Yeah.
It's because people took the most popularized schematic of Wykoff, but they forget that there is also Wykoff reaccumulation patterns. And I was just discussing that earlier today in the Discord call, and I was saying that the market moves from low volatility to high volatility, back to low volatility, back to high volatility, and it moves in the same concept. It goes in a directional move, and then there's a reaccumulation. And then what people speculate on is whether that's a distributive pattern or reaccumulative. And that to a high degree depends on the context that the market is currently sitting in. And creating that context is probably the hardest and also the most important thing. So it could be like that it's a Wykoff distribution anytime, but because they are looking fairly relatively same, whether that's reaccumulation or distribution, but you do not know that until it happens. Obviously, you are anticipating, and what you are anticipating is the context given things. So, and you need to look at also the timings of those distributive patterns. So, for example, if you look at just on this chart, the distributive patterns usually take lots of time. The accumulative patterns do not take as much time. And for this to be distributive, you need to scale up your time frame, is what I'm trying to say. Is that if you are on 1 week time frame, and you look at this chart, do not overcomplicate it. Just look at the time it has took so far. This would need to go for another 5-6 months sideways to be distribution. As of right now, it's reaccumulation.
Yeah, 100%. Jackus, you had a really interesting chart. I don't know when you posted it. I think it was like gold. It was like a maybe copper to gold ratio, and overlaid that. Did you post that this morning, or did I dream that?
This
Was
morning.
Yeah,
you maybe were dreaming at the time. To be honest,
I was just dreaming about Jackus. It happens once or twice a week, so forgive me. But
okay.
Could you show that chart, Jackus? That was a really interesting piece of analysis.
Before we switch over real quick, I need to go against what Evan's saying here. The monthly chart does not scream distribution. The monthly chart screams you have a hell of a lot more room here. That's what the RSI screams here.
I would agree with you, Will.
By the way, just to add to what I was saying earlier, you also do not have to get a distributive pattern at the top, for example, like 2017. But even then, you get exploring sideways. But for that to happen, to get the blow off top, you really need to get a blow off top. Like prices must get so absurdly overbought on all time frames, and that doesn't mean daily. That means mainly weekly. And it just needs to go very, very far away from any mean average, and that has not come here. That's very far away, and the longer we spend here, the higher the next super overbought gets, if that makes sense.
I'd love to pivot a little bit because the discussion on Bitcoin's great, but right now we've had a lot going on in the JPY USD market specifically. Jackus, I'd love to get your view on that because I have heard a lot of FUD regarding the JPY USD pair. I saw that. I mean, it's literally trading like a shitcoin. It's kind of wild for like a massive Forex pair.
Yeah, I haven't done a I have to do a deeper analysis regarding all of that, because like it's very easy to make quick assumption based on one news or so, but I will have to dig way deeper in it. So I wouldn't discuss that just yet today, but maybe we're gonna discuss it like tomorrow or another day, if that's all right, Tommy.
Oh yeah, we'll make them hit the like quota for that alpha tomorrow.
Absolutely. It would be too much alpha for one day, to be honest.
It's kind of funny though, because even though the JPY nuked overnight, I noticed the dollar index did not move aggressively higher. So I do think that we are correct in seeing that the dollar index is indeed topping out near here, if not already.
By the way, guys, do you know what's the strongest fiat currency?
That's a trick question.
It is and it is not. It's not what most people think it is, that's for sure, but it's not like something crazy.
The shekel?
No, it's like an African currency, isn't it? Something like that.
No, it's the Swiss franc.
Oh yeah, no, my bad. Yeah, there's an African currency that stands up pretty well too. I forget which one it is, but there's a couple of them out there that are actually really strong currencies, but they're in countries that aren't as big as countries like the U.S. or Russia or China or any of those.
Yeah, it's for example, if you were to look at the M2 money supply on USD, because lots of people are thinking like, hey, when shit hits the fan, right, let's run into the dollars. And obviously, no, I suppose more people have access to dollars than they do have in a Swiss franc. But if you have the ability, then Swiss franc is consistently gaining against the dollar. And it's also because they are not devaluating their currency as much as the US is. And you can do that if you compare, for example, the US money supply versus the Swiss franc money supply. And it's also interesting on the central bank interest rate on those two currencies, because, for example, Swiss franc has already dropped the rates, which has caused a relative weakness on the Swiss franc. But longer term, the current relative strength for USD is merely, and I will say this, it's only because the fact that Fed it created a sentiment that it's going to rate cut early in the year. The market started to price that in, and then they said, hey, we're not going to cut it just yet. We're going to postpone it. So DXYs went higher again, and the bonds as well. But the moment, they will start cutting at some point. And at that point, the DXY will start dropping again. Yeah. Anyway, I kind of rambled.
What am I looking at here on deck screener? Well, what?
So I somebody keeps asking about Brett and Brett and Brett and Brett. So I have two expectations for Brett. One being it bleeds down, fills the wick. Two being it holds the range right here. This is kind of like your POC right here in this area. So your point of control for this lower range. It's where price likes to hover consistently, using it as support and resistance. So that's kind of where you're at. So as long as you can hold that, you can expect upside. But like if you don't hold that, you're probably gonna fill this entire wick and you're gonna do some weird ass shit like this, like what Pepe did, which means you'll die down in vol. Your vol will drop. You'll end up dying down in price, and then eventually you'll spike off of that. One of the two, right? It's gonna be option A into a big boom. FUD doesn't play out. This breaks out. Option B, you're gonna break down below your POC. You're gonna find support somewhere relatively in the bottom range of this consolidation range, and then you'll bleed into it, and then you'll roll out. It's just like the same thing's happening with Bitcoin. This is what I've been trying to tell people. It's like if you look at time frame wise over here on the daily, and people can get upset about it. I don't care. Like I'm not married to any shitcoin. Like it is what it is. Um, your bleed-in is doing the same thing here on Bitcoin. You basically so you got to understand when high volatility dies down, you're good, right? You're good for an entry. High volatility is slowly dying down into Bitcoin. It's doing exactly what I said Brett might try and do. It's trying to bleed into the range, and then if it can hold the range, you're probably looking at something like that, right? And if it doesn't hold the range here, and you hit 50, like everybody's expecting, you're going to be in for a painful ride. Like this isn't going to be some big, some big rollover where you just. And I think like if you hit 50, you're going to hold it. Like you're not. I don't think you're going to spike out very hard. So like if you're hitting low 50s, like what people are targeting, you're going down here for a while. If you hit high 50s, you can deviate while bleeding into the range. You can deviate and still come out of that pretty well. But if you go in the low 50s, like what everybody's talking, you're going to get destroyed. Market's going to sit there probably just like how it did here, except like this into a cupping bottom, rollout. Might even turn into like a cup and handle if that ends up playing out. So I think the cup and handle play or the low 50s play is a very low percentage likeliness, right? I'll put it out there like that since people don't get my humor when I say not going below 60K. Uh, it's humor more towards like your likeliness it's unlikely, right? And so the likeliness of going to low 50s, I think here is a pipe dream. I think it's very unlikely, but possible, right? Possible. Anything's possible, except if you jump off a cliff, you will not be flying. You will hit the ground eventually. Um, Coming into this range though and dipping in is okay. It's okay. Like it doesn't matter. And I'm not looking to catch that dip because I don't care. I don't care. I don't think alts get wrecked much more. They've already been absolutely obliterated. If Bitcoin comes down, they're just going to continue to range where they've been ranging.
There was a question on me on Bitcoin dominance. I may share the chart here quickly. Maybe though, I'll first ask about the like button. If we go first on my chart or the soybean chart, that's a question.
Well, I think either way, you should pull up your chart. You could either chart soybeans or you could actually chart Bitcoin dominance. It's a win-win.
That's true. What likes are we at?
All right, let's see. We are at 116.
Oh, that's very sad.
That's
Yeah.
very, very sad.
I'm blaming the chop. I'm blaming the
So,
chop.
real quick, before we move into your stuff, Jack, how'd that BTCD play out, everybody? Looks like we're at 60, huh?
Will, you don't understand. It's going to 95%, brother. You don't understand.
Like, where's the victory lap here?
Dude, this is going to be so epic. I'm so excited for this rollover. I'm so ready.
On
It's
Bitcoin
obvious.
dominance or ETH Bitcoin?
Tommy, easy. He wants to footy.
I mean, look, how are we gonna talk shit about Bitcoin dominance after ETH Bitcoin just rugged everybody over the weekend?
Bro, did not rug anybody. No, what are you
Tommy,
talking about?
Pull it up. Will,
Tommy, are you looking to deny yours?
Dude,
You're
how did
cooked.
ETH BTC rug everybody? That doesn't look like it rugged everybody. That looks like it's simply just like coming back to fill in some gaps from the weekend. That doesn't look like a rug.
It looks like a continued downtrend, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No. We've just been coming back to fill in some gaps, you know.
It's the same thing.
No, I'm
Bitcoin's
saying
doing, man.
I'm saying I wouldn't call this Monday movement down to be a rug. I think that's dramatic. I'm not.
Rug is the wrong.
Max,
dramatic.
how are you even
What?
even reacting to the top ETH BTC fodder in the team?
but
You
it's
get
also
baited hard.
dramatic. This is also
Yesterday was like
dramatic
my
because
Christmas,
victory.
man.
It's dramatic to say this is cooked. Okay. Look, I mean,
Wait,
what?
so-
Like, what?
So what likes we add, guys? We gotta pump those numbers up to 200 at least. All right. It's we have a new week. The full panel is here. I understand that it's range time, so people are not as excited. But 116 likes is too little for 300 people watching. Basically, we gotta pump those numbers up.
I think we could get to 150 pretty quickly here.
200. Max. But they've been waiting for the soybean chart, and we do not have it, right?
They want the soybean chart. That's the problem.
They do.
They want the soybean chart. They actually prefer the soybean chart.
That mass comes in like, you know what, this number, and Jack is like, you know what, double that. Let's
guys, if you are enjoying the content, do us a solid. Take one moment out of your time. Hit that thumbs up button for us. It really does wonders for the growth of the channel. I promise we wouldn't ask you guys if it didn't make a big difference, but unfortunately, we have to cater towards what the algorithm really demands, and it's that we get likes on our content. So we're here for free. All that we ask, again, there's 270 of you on YouTube. There's probably double or triple that on Twitter. Do us a solid, guys. Just hit that thumbs up button. It really helps us out. And if you're on Twitter, you can really turbocharge it by even hitting that retweet button. All right. The retweet button is like 5 likes in and of itself. So hit that like button, hit that retweet button. And if you are new here, consider subscribing as well, guys. Thank you so much for being here. All right, let's see what we're at here. I have a feeling they just ran up the likes. 152.
Oh,
all right, it's not bad.
That'll do.
Somebody has a itch for some lean hog there. Can we check out some lean hog?
I want to watch this awesome Bitcoin price action.
I don't know, bro.
I'm gonna take over here because I'm just hungry to share alpha today. I'm not as demanding as my teammates. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the skim milk department right here, Max? I don't see skim milk.
I got a bunch of stubborn co-hosts on this show, a bunch of ETH BTC fudders, a bunch of like demandors, a bunch of comment section attackers. Not me. I'm a man of the people. I'm here to share the alpha regardless. regardless. All right.
For today.
Before
he tells you to smash the like button
sentiment
tomorrow.
is at like bear market low right now. Somebody has to be the nice guy. I mean, people are at each other's throats. Somebody needs to be a beacon of light. I will be that man. Okay?
We simply FUD our own bags because we all own ETH derivatives, even though I FUD ETH all the time.
I mean,
we are trying to trick the market makers by creating the bad sentiment.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm super bullish on ETH. I don't care what nobody says. You're not gonna change my mind.
Me too.
Like, I'm super fucking bullish on it. I don't
Me
care what
too.
nobody says. My shitcoins are primarily on base. It is ETH. ETH season, base season. Enjoy.
All right, I'm gonna do some charting here. We can talk, but let me just talk about the chart here. All right.
Such a beautiful bullish one.
I am so bullish right now. I don't even know how to process it myself, you know? And like the sentiment from everybody who, like, I have my list of fades, okay? I'm not going to say who they are, but like every single one of them is like vocally bearish, calling for like a meltdown recession right now. So I know that's anecdotal, right? But there's some real signal in that, you know? And some of the guys up here know who I'm talking about. But when those squeaky wheels begin to really squeak, you know, at range low, it's time to back the truck up. Okay. So we're looking at total right now, guys. There is nothing bearish about this chart right here. Like literally nothing bearish about this chart. Okay. First of all, what we're seeing right here is literally a beautiful, beautiful retest. That's all this is right here. You just need one line on your chart.
You see Will, Max? Do you see?
No,
Will?
what's Will doing? Is that a burrito?
Because burrito. Let me, bro, this thing's the size of my thigh. I'm about to eat this thing. Well, maybe not quite the size of my thigh, but it's a good chunk. It's a good chunk.
So this is like the only line that you need on your chart right here. Like you're looking at total. This looks fantastic. Like this does not look bad in my opinion. You know, we can draw some more local ranges and stuff like that. You know, we can do all this, you know, if we want to. We could draw some sort of like, you know, flag of some sort, you know, we could do this. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The point is this is a reaccumulation, and I do anticipate us bouncing out of this thing. Is it possible that we could come take out this low right here? It's possible we could do something like this, maybe. Okay. Big maybe. Okay. If we did come down here, that's it. Turn your brain off. Okay. I don't know if we're going to or not. I'm not waiting for it. I'm not going to be repositioning. I'm not selling anything. This looks incredibly strong, in my opinion. Incredibly strong. Additionally, you know, going back to the previous cycle, you know, let's take a look. So here's our complacency shoulder. Okay, like this was the bull's final stand before the bear market. Okay, we pull back hard. They try to run it back up. They get stuffed. We have a bear market. Okay, this bear market shoulder is extremely important from a psychological perspective. Because it was the bull's last stand in the last cycle. So when you finally get back above it, you have reacceptance back into the final bit of supply from last cycle, which is like right up here for where we're currently at. You have reacceptance back up into the final distributive zone. Okay. So where was that at last cycle? It's right up in this region. All right. Where are we at right now? In my opinion, this is exactly where we're at. Like it's the same, guys. It's the same. We're somewhere up in here. We're somewhere up in this region. You are in November, December-ish of 2020. In my opinion, the best is yet to come. And then, of course, what happened last cycle as well. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance at that phase, right? Move to existing pane above. What we saw last cycle, again, when total finally got reacceptance back up into the final distributive region, you know, of the previous cycle, Bitcoin dominance was in its topping process. It wasn't completely topped, but it was within its topping process, give or take. And in my opinion, that's where we're at right now. Again, I think that so many people are just so emotional and are maybe overexposed or over leveraged or something like that. But that's just not going to work for me. The data is telling me otherwise. It just really is. And interestingly enough as well, like this is incredible how we like global topped at the 1.618 for total last cycle. We're going to keep an eye on it and see if this happens again. It might, it literally might, depending on how things work out. But like, I genuinely think that this is a possibility, like at least, somewhere up in this region could be your top right here. So anyways, I'm just like, I'm just confused on what people are looking at here and how they're feeling bearish here. I truly don't understand it. And additionally, we have Confluence. We'll see how this week turns out, right? But historically, risk rallies for a prolonged period of time all through the Fed pause for a lot longer than people really understand, until you begin to see the labor market in the US really, really, really show signs of weakness. And we're not seeing that right now. And again, we do have initial claims and the unemployment print this week. So we'll see if, I'm wrong and things are nasty, but I don't think that they are. Like, I don't think that they are at this point. And there's no point in being bearish on, a high time frame uptrend after we have reacceptance into, in my opinion, our most critical level on the chart during a Fed pause, as BTC dominance is, in my opinion, attempting to show signs of distribution. I'm bullish here. Like, I'm bullish everything. I'm bullish everything right now. There will come a time later in the year when you see me go a little bit, more risk off or be a little bit careful. That day is not today. Until presented with new information, that day is not today.
Yeah, guys, I have something truly special on the Bitcoin dominance chart too. But you know the deal. It's kind of a meme here, but we gotta make those likes up. But I do agree, Max. I do agree with you. Where we are, it's plain and obvious. But if you notice, you are on a 1 week chart. That means that and it's going to sound as simple and stupid as it is, but one candle here takes 1 week time to print. And imagine, last week went by so quick, but I was away the whole week and legit nothing happened. And during that week, it feels like eternity since I've been here. But really nothing has happened on the chart, just another, candle. And people have a hard time thinking in this time frame. It's just too much. Most people are, once again, and I've been reminding this for a long time, that most people are on the 1 hour and H4 time frame. Unless you are Tucker, then you are on a 24-second chart. But yeah, most people are on the 1 hour H4 and thinking of this chart of 1 week time frame is just too much for the brains to comprehend. Not trying to attack anyone. That's another team member here, profession. But
Can we highlight Nicholas real quick? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there, Jackus. Just highlight his comment real quick.
Who?
We appreciate you too, Nicholas.
Who?
This one?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you. That's the way to do it. This is the way, as the Mandalorian says.
This is the way.
This is the way. But yeah, people. What I was trying to say is that when you are on this time frame, nothing really happens for the entirety of the week. Sometimes even 3 weeks, and that's a lot of time. And most people kind of forget it, kind of forget the big picture as they zoom in on the 1 hour H4 and they are craving for some action. And but if you are on this chart, you know what's coming, and it is coming. Give me a reason why it's not.
I don't have one. Like I don't have one. Unless we're presented with new information this week and the US jobs market is actually not in such a healthy state, which I don't think that is the case.
Yeah.
Then in my opinion, I don't have any rebuttal. Like this is where we're at,
I think so. I think the most of the economic data is going to stay relatively the same. Maybe small change here and there, sure. I think Powell will not change much of his rhetoric. Maybe he will. Maybe Powell will be a little bit more supportive, as we had a first major pullback since basically November on equities 2023, and that's a long time. And this was the highest volatility spike, I think, as well. So maybe he's going to be a little supportive with his rhetoric and be like, oh yeah, we are thinking of dropping the rates now, by the end of the year or something. And it really doesn't matter. It's just the way he says it, kind of, we know it's all a game, but yeah, I do not see, Max, I do not see much changing this week. I think it will cause lots of volatility, especially on lower time frames too. But the higher time frame trend that you have here is intact.
Yeah, exactly. I also don't think we're gonna have a red May, truthfully. Like I think sell in May go away was more or less front ran a little bit. And that's what we just had right now in April.
Oh, it was 100% up front ran now. 100%.
We were discussing this earlier before you hopped in on the show, and I was saying it's going to be sell in May and cry away later, because what most likely happens is that we print a early May wick low. Maybe I think May is going to be a bullish month. Maybe like doji. We'll see. But not expecting crazy pump in May just yet, but I think May prints a monthly wick low, and people selling in May and going away will cry at the end of the year, because we are truly middle of the bull market, and you had no confirmation on equities, on crypto, on anything regarding market structure telling you otherwise. So you want to be bullish right here. The only thing that's working for the bears is a local DXY strength, but I think that's only merely what I said quite a few times, and that's the fact that DXY is going to go down significantly at some point. And it was going to, and the only reason it has not yet is because the market was pricing in rate cuts early in this year. At the end of last one, there were talks that they're gonna already cut in January, March, and so forth. Then, Powell and everyone comes in and says, hey, we changed our mind. We're gonna postpone it later on. The rate pause will stay longer. So obviously, with DXY, because the dollars are strong if you have a high interest rates on them, So that's the reason why DXY repriced as is still within a range. But at some point they will start cutting, and that will cause a major DXY drop later on. But I do not see DXY going higher unless they would start raising the rates, right? You would really need the Fed to start raising the rates. And the reason DXY went so high in 2022 is because that was a very specific scenario not seen in like 40, 50 years, when we were getting really big spikes in interest rates and CPI and so forth, and everyone started to call for interest rates to be at 7, 10, or 13% or some absurd figures, and the market was in a full blown kind of like DXY euphoria, at that point. We heard about the dollar milkshake theories and stuff. So that got overshot a lot. Then the market dropped a lot, and since then, we are rate paused. The DXY is, in my opinion, at a fair value currently. But again, the local strength is not because the dollar is going to consume everything and milkshake theory is back on. It's merely because we got the rate pause longer than the market anticipated. But at some point, they're going to start cutting the rates. The bonds will go down, the DXY will go down. And that's it.
I know we talk about JPY a lot, and I know like somebody just asked, like, can we look at JPY, DXY? I feel like JPY matters to an extent, but like I almost feel like the yen has more importance in comparison to world economy than the JPY, just due to population. Does that make more sense, or does that make sense at all?
The yen is the JPY currency, right?
No, JPY is the Japanese, or sorry, not yen, sorry, won.
You're talking Chinese currency, not Japanese?
Yeah. I think the Chinese currency has more importance from a world economy standpoint than the Japanese yen. Sorry about that. I mixed the two up.
I think I'm not sure on that. Well, I think Japanese yen has more significance than yuan. But
well, I mean, if you look at exports, the Chinese are the highest exporting, country pretty much in the world.
Absolutely, but the manipulation that's been going between Japanese yen and the dollar has been going on for a long time, and right now it's going mainly with euro, of course, but the Japanese yen is the next one. It's way more significant currency than yuan in the world.
Well, it's less manipulated for sure. I'm just looking at it from like economic standpoint and how they impact the world economy and so on and so forth. But I do want to highlight Smash's reviews. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I'll spill my milkshake before I let bears drink. Bullish on manipulation.
I want to say the big importance of the yen is that whole carry trade thing, which I don't fully understand, but I know it does have some pretty like big significance for global liquidity.
All right, we are on 180 likes. We did not get it to 200, but since I've been away for the week, I'll take the chart unless Max wants to finish up.
No, you got it, Jackus. I want to see you cook.
It's because he loves you guys, the audience. He missed you.
He did.
I do.
He missed you. Pull a Tommy on it. Take the chart from me. Violently steal the chart.
Boom.
Oh,
sounds like a fetish.
It is what it is. All right, so there was the question on the Bitcoin dominance chart, and I was thinking what this reminds me of, and I was thinking like, hey, this alone feels like it's going to absolutely, like it's forced. They are trying to push it. It's just too much, and then stairs up, elevator down. You know how to say it. And I was thinking what this situation reminds me of, and then I thought, hey, that was Bitcoin in 2021 when they were pushing it, and then were pushing it, and then they tried to push it until you got the elevator down. And obviously, you cannot compare Bitcoin well, kinda maybe, but these are two different charts, of course, the Bitcoin itself and Bitcoin dominance, but the fractal, the psychological aspect behind these is the same. And what I do expect is that, and I was saying this, that right here, that we are probably, it seems like we're going to get a fake breakout, because this chart was kind of clean. I was making a post on Twitter that this is too clean, and usually you see a fake out, like you always do. You always get some, like here, right? This was also too clean, and the alt season were to come, but they first did a fake out. This wasn't COVID though, but they did the fake out, and then you get the drop. And I think this one was it, and maybe I do not think so, because this wick is pretty big. You know, it's definitely the why it's bigger than the body right here at that crucial area. It's when the market should have broken the downtrend, and instead it did a wick. All right, and I assume we're gonna close this way because it's you know, tomorrow is the monthly close, and obviously you still need the impulse to the downside. You need this impulse, like right here. But I think this chart is pretty obvious that we're going to do something like this, you know, and then possibly bouncing ball, and then we enter a new area of.
Whoa,
That
Jack.
would be
So that would
insanity.
imply. Hang on. No, keep that. Because I haven't ever seen that scenario from you or anybody publicly before. Are you thinking that we could see like the altcoin season of all altcoin seasons? Because that would either imply that like Bitcoin just falls off, nobody cares about it anymore, or alts go higher than anybody could even.
No. So the alt season of all alt season has been in 2017. That's never happening again. And this one, we do not know if, like, we do not know how long this is going to take here. And I'm simply anticipating. I also do not know how things will be in the years to go. This is just like kind of like a vague anticipation. But this chart is telling me that at some point it's going to drop lower. Now, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin is going to be insignificant. Quite the contrary. It just means that the whole industry, the whole space is going to get probably broader adoption wide. It's probably going to come with regulatory clarity, with other ETS for other tokens, you know, and so forth. So it's rather going to be others stealing kind of the show locally. But this doesn't like this can easily mean BTC to 500K. It just means that the whole space is going to get, you know, is going to get more attention as well. That's all this chart is saying.
It could add to it too, Jack. It's just to add. It could also mean that the space expands, right? It doesn't mean that your shitcoins go to $300 billion market cap. It just simply means that you're going to get more. And like Jack has said, it could come through acceptance and regulation, where you're going to get an expansion of the space with just more altcoins essentially. So instead of 25 million, there'll be 200 million altcoins, and that's what actually lowers the dominance of Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's price will still continue up. Its importance
Yeah.
in the space will still continue to be there. But the less and less that Bitcoin has dominance on the market, the less and less these pullbacks impact the overall ecosystem. I do want to point that out also. So if we drop into a new regime, then Bitcoin will have less impact on altcoins as a whole.
You also do not need to have that many of new tokens. You just need the existing ones to really get that regulatory clarity, because lots of them are waiting for it. Like the way you've seen institutions jump into Bitcoin after the spot Bitcoin ETF. The same thing you will probably see with alts, you know, the moment it happens. Like they are not allocating because they are currently afraid, and that's the reality, right? People love to joke around and create narratives, and you know, anything is possible, but the reality is that lots of investors, lots of institutions that would love to get into some of these alts, they simply do not want to, because like SEC can decide the next day that they're gonna sue the project and they will be fucked. So it's just too much risk right now on the table. So the moment regulatory clarity gets established, alts will just in general go high a lot. That and it and it's, you know, two things that are hard for me to see is that the regulatory clarity doesn't come. That to me seems like super low probability. And so the only question is when. And then the next thing is that when it comes, again, not if, but when it comes, uh, is do you really think that regulatory clarity comes and altcoins do not catch the bid? Because I think that's foolish take as well. So
Well,
Bitcoin
you got to
dominance
consider.
going down is Bitcoin dominance going down is essentially a done deal, because Bitcoin dominance outperformance. Bitcoin already has the spot ETF. It has all the regulatory clarity it needed, and the alts do not have it. It's like if you are thinking between interest rates and their respective currencies, and you can have euro and let's make a hypothetical, or not hypothetical, it was a real scenario. So in Czech, we have our own currency, and we started to raise the rates the first from the Western countries. And our currency started to strengthen against both euro and the dollar a lot, because we were the first movers. But then USD started to, the Fed started to raise the rates. European Union started to raise the rates, and suddenly the advantage that we had because you could lend money to Czech Republic and get a 7% 7% interest rate, while for the dollar it was at that time like 0.25%, right? So the deal was to be positioned there. But then this gap started to change, and now it's nearly the same. And it's now that the Czech pound is weakening again. And the same thing is here between like Bitcoin and the altcoins. It's simple as that. You can think of the regulatory clarity as interest rates. The moment the Bitcoin had the first mover advantage when there was a regulatory clarity towards it. But then when the regulatory clarity comes towards alts, and it's going to come, then this gap will change as well, and that's Bitcoin dominance going down. And then I do not, maybe we get one more week. I do not see it really, but I think like this was it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's never been my base case that Bitcoin dominance would go to 60%. Similarly to how I was talking earlier about, uh, that sell-off we had earlier in the year, people wanting 33K or 34K, it never came. Right now, people want low 50s. I don't think that comes. And I think that most people are in the camp that Bitcoin dominance goes to 60% or above. And I also don't think that happens. I think, a really effective strategy, although a little bit anecdotal and sometimes hard to measure, is find the most obvious levels on the chart and front run them a little bit. And I think that 60% is an obvious level, and I don't think it's going to get hit. So I agree with you.
But that's
Yeah.
what I've been saying for a while now, Max. When I've been talking to you, is like all this shit needs to be front run. If you're looking at this market and you're like, hey, this is my entry, front run that entry. 10%, 20% above entry, enter that shit. Like dominance dropping down there though, Jack, I want to point out one other thing. It would make sense, and I can give you the scenario where that plays what you're saying, and that's ETH ETF, right? If you saw an ETH ETF, you better believe people are going to start speculating other portions of the sector, getting an ETF. They're going to start buying Solana. They're going to start buying SUI. They're going to start buying all these other ones, looking for ETFs on those next, trying to front run the market. You're going to see this market blow up, and that would be Bitcoin dominance, basically just getting completely wrecked to the downside. A new era for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. All right, well, we've been going for about an hour and a half. Any final thoughts here? What do you say?
I'm excited. I'm hyped. Let's bid some shit. Like stop being low key, man. Just bid some shit.
Let's do that.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Before you guys go, please consider liking and also subscribing if you are new here. Again, thanks so much for being here, guys. We greatly appreciate it. This was Market Check, brought to you by Because Bitcoin. We are live Monday through Friday at 10:55 a.m. Eastern Time with this full cast. We talk charts, price, narratives, generally just have a great time. And again, thanks so much for tuning in and being here, guys. It really is heartwarming hanging out with you guys every single day. We truly enjoy it. It's a highlight for me. And I think I can speak for the other guys as well. It's always a good time. Before you guys go, check out the first link in the description below. That will take you to our website where you can browse our premium offerings. Right now, you can sign up for our Discord. There's currently 2 tiers available. And within the next 30 days, you will get free access included in your existing Discord membership, included to our new flagship product called the BB Terminal. It's got spaghetti charts, portfolio tracking, derivatives data, heat maps, literally everything that you need to find an edge in these markets. Again, that will be included for no additional cost within your existing Discord membership. So sign up sooner rather than later. The second link in the description below is to the BB Academy. Guys, the BB Academy can save you a lot of time learning TA and FA in these markets. Me, Jack as well, and the rest of the Because Bitcoin team spent 6 months putting this thing together. It's got all of our strategies as a team. And again, there's a lot of people out there trying to teach you guys the wrong things. If you want to save yourself some time, it's very fairly priced right now. We are going to be increasing the price very soon. Again, that's the second link in the description below. So if you want to learn all of our technical and fundamental strategies and how we as a team and a collective approach these markets, second link in the description below will take you to BB Academy. Guys, it's absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much for being here. Again, please like and subscribe, and we will see you guys tomorrow for Market Check again at same time, 10:55 a.m. Eastern time. So guys, thanks so much. Like and subscribe and take care.